All right, we're live.
Get a little retweet out there.
Oh, morning session here. A little morning session. Everyone's coming in hot after last night.
A little morning sex for you here on the fucking We Gotta Believe podcast. Retweet, get y'all in here. Today's episode of We Gotta Believe is brought to you by Feltman's of Coney Island, the realest fucking hot dogs in the game. This is like, for day game dogs, this is the only fucking choice. These guys are the real deal when it comes to hot dogs. We're also rocking the t-shirts for them. Jimmy Quinn was he died in 9/11, and every year Feltman's does this baseball game Mets package for Jimmy and the family, and they try to raise as much money as they can for Tuesday's Children, which is a nonprofit organization for 9/11. So ordinarily, Jimmy, he was a Mets fan, and he's on to a better place now. I know it's tragic he's gone, but as Mets fans here suffering, we hope that Jimmy's got his feet up and he ain't worried about Edwin Diaz right now. So this would be the 19th year they're doing it, the 19th annual Jimmy Quinn Mets game. Shout out to Drama Llama there. Those hot dogs are by far the best. I opened up a box yesterday. You want to know the weight of my heart? Do you want to know the fucking weight of my heart, Clem? I opened up a box in like a cooler, you know, with the Feltman's hot dogs, the Martin's potato buns, and the spicy mustard. And I was like, yes, thank you, Feltman's. You will be doing day game dogs with me for the rest of the season. Let's fucking go.
It's crazy to see how we have our official game day dog. After all these years, we have an official day game dog.
Finally.
And I said this because they sponsored Podfathers. They've been sponsoring Podfathers. Any company, any hot dog company that makes their own mustard, you immediately are street cred through the fucking roof. The ceiling is the roof. If you make
thankfully, they went brown mustard, because if you go yellow mustard in a pinch, no doubt. But
are you doing a shot? Are you doing a morning mustard shot? Look at that.
That's great mustard.
And I was asked by my buddy Joe Lightning, are these hot dogs legit, or are we just saying
your buddy is Joe Lightning?
Oh, you've never heard the story of Joe Lightning? This is one of my favorite. So Joe Lightning,
like a Pixar character.
His nickname in college was Joe Lightning, and he's a Mets fan. He's a Podfathers fan, and I've told this story on both now in the last 2 weeks, and he hates being called Joe Lightning. I'm so happy I get to tell it on this one. He gets to hear it again. He was always in last place in Mario Kart, and you always have lightnings.
Yes.
So he gets the name Joe Lightning.
So what did Joe Lightning say?
So he asked, are these hot dogs legit? Or you say, and I said, no, these hot dogs, like, this is the thing. I've become so used to like the mass produced stuff when I got the Feltman's, and I was like, oh, this is what hot dogs like are supposed to taste like.
Yes.
I feel like whatever the spices and stuff they put in hot dog have been like watered down by like the mass producers over the years, probably to cut corners and like, you know, make their money. These guys do it right. They're Mets fans. It's veteran owned. They had a brother who died in 9/11. Like, this is like family right now in my mind. So
if you're gonna eat hot dogs, do the right thing and make them Feltman's. They're doing all the right things for all the right people, including me, by sending me all that awesome shit. Before we'll get to the Mets in a minute, but this Tom Brenneman thing is fucking. I know that it's rooted in like homophobia, so it's not funny, but it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. Brockmire is like my favorite show. Brockmire, I'm hoping this leads to a surge in Brockmire viewers, because this is real life Brockmire. It was life imitating art. It happened in reality. For him to choose to do play-by-play in the middle of his home run, in the middle of his apology, is fucking lunacy. And I know how these guys operate, because Tom Brennan has been in the game for like 40 fucking years. Like Gary Cohen's of the world. The guys who do this in their sleep, they can't not. Like, if they're in that booth and they have that headset on and a home run's hit, they have to describe it, no matter what's going on. Whether you're apologizing for homophobic slurs, the booth could be on fire, the place could be getting robbed at gunpoint, and he's going to stop and be like, and there's a drive to deep left field, and that will be a home run. It's no. He literally could not help himself. The chances of all that happening, of him doing it in the first place on a hot mic, then being allowed to stay on the air at all to do the apology, and then a home run being hit in the middle of it, 10 gazillion to 1. I mean, it's the most unlikely thing that's ever happened in sports.
I feel like he was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to put on these headphones again. And the ball is driven to left field. And then, like, finished the call with the score. He's like, and the Reds are up 4-0. And then just went right back into the sentence. He went right back into the sentence as if he didn't even say it. I was like, that's a professional. Shouldn't have said it, but that's a professional.
I feel like the baseball gods meant to do it to the Mets, and there was like a game of telephone between the baseball gods, and they heard Reds, and like do it to the Reds, and it's like Keith Hernandez. That was supposed to happen to him or something.
No, I said idiot. The Mets.
I don't want to like you said. I don't want to make too much of a big deal of this, but we've all known 2020 has been a bitch of a year. We've had some just awful shit this year. I feel like we've known baseball can like make things heal, just crazy stuff, big plays happen. I think Nick Castellanos' home run will be what historians say turned around this world, this planet as it was. Because last night was, like you said, it's rooted in a fucked up quote, but it was so goddamn preposterous. Everyone just could laugh for once and just like let off some steam. It was so beautiful and so absurd.
Blur, everyone's laughing about the apology. It's so unbelievable. And I mean, I was waiting to see how they were going to handle that. I thought for sure they were going to say, no, you misheard. Like, I didn't say that word. I mean, he put the emphasis on it. Like, he said it, and he just fucking owned it and was like, yep. But, I mean, it's a fucking rap for Tom Brenneman, right? Like,
Kunzel de Brenneman.
It's crazy. You know, that's a voice that's been around for a while. That's a voice we've all heard watching baseball for a long time. And I'm not going to hear that one anymore. Unless it's for the fucking Morristown Frackers with Jim Brockmeyer. I don't think you're going to be hearing Tom Brenneman anytime soon.
Our boy Coley said it too. He's like, that's not the first time he's thrown that word around in the booth. You could just tell, like, there's some emphasis. There was some heat behind it. Like, it just feels like
there's no reaction. Like, there was no reason to say it unless it's like, hey, fellas, this is what we always talk about. So you never know, man. You never know what people are like. Wouldn't have guessed it with Tom Brenneman, but here we are. And,
Tom Brenneman. It's never good when you're opening up a Mets podcast with Tom Brenneman.
Tom Brenneman. T-H-O-M. What a fucking loser. Okay, let's get to the Mets. Last week, or I guess like second, I don't know. All these days blending together. But there was a period of time where we were lounging in Consolina, and people started to say, oh, fuck, you're going to make me believe. The meme that's been floating around the We Gotta Believe world almost nightly. And then we had the Phillies weekend. And I was given a big old I told you so. I love being right on the console. I love it. And now today, we sit with our first winning streak of the season. 3 games in a row. Chance to go 4 before we head into the Yankee series. And a lot of people are saying, oh, fuck, I'm going to believe. A lot of people are trying to unconsole. I mean, we're under 500. There's 34 games left to go. On the other side of things, we're only 2.5 games back from the Braves because the NL East fucking stinks. So you can go ahead and believe if you want. You can unconsole if you want. But just remember, like, what happened last night. Like, yeah, we won in, classic skin of our teeth bullshit fashion because we've got to take our best reliever and make him a starter tomorrow because the front office is undoubtedly saying, well, we need another starter, so give me Rojas. Rojas is not doing a good job, but he's completely handcuffed now, either by Brody or Jeff or whoever the fuck it is up the line. And, Edwin Diaz getting out of that had to be more unlikely than the Tom Brenneman home run apology. I cannot believe he got out of that. Michael Conforto clutched for the first time ever in his life in a big way, having a monster season. And Edwin Diaz snakes the win from Jacob deGrom, who after the game said he's tired, which is about as much as you're going to get from Jake. Jake saying I'm tired is like, fuck y'all. Fuck you guys. So while, yes, we won, it's like, you start to look at the game itself and run differentials and look at the whole picture. And I am still sitting comfortably in Carolina. But as always, I hope the unconsoled are correct.
Yeah, the young Kunstl, their hearts were rising and falling. I mean, as you know, even in Kunstlerina, you're like, I don't want to see Edwin Diaz, get fucking catered or anything like that. You want to see Jake get the win. Jake, it's the unshun reshun, unkunstl rekunstl. That's the Jake DeGrom once every 5 days we get, just because we love the guy so much. But yeah, I'm comfortably in Kunstlerina. I hope that they go and sweep the Yankees, win the rest of their fucking games. The fact that Jake is tired, I almost want to just shut him down. Like, see you later, Jake.
I know. Don't even do this to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At this point, and we'll talk much more at length about the sale in a minute. At this point, I want Steve Cohen to just lock up Conforto, rest Jacob deGrom. Like, take the good pieces, give me Cohen, and then we go. Forget about this fucking year. It's not worth any risk or any struggle or any drama, because one way or another, the franchise is completely getting overhauled here. So this season, I just can't believe that they did this fucking Lugo thing. Like,
it's unbelievable.
In a short season with a trash team like the Mets, to start to not worry about a win in the hand. Like, you can win a game right now with a lead, put your best guy in, hold it down, and they're worried about tomorrow. Who cares about tomorrow if you lose tonight? Because you're the Mets and you might lose tonight. Like, if you had other options and you had a big lead or you knew you were a good team, it's like, all right, we can play ball. We can play with fire a little bit here because we'll get through it. The Mets can't play with water, let alone with fucking fire. So it's just so Mets, man. It's crazy.
It's like, it's good for Lugo because, like, obviously he deserves it. He's been grinding it out this whole time. He's got to watch Gesellman go out there and get fucking shellacked every single day he goes on the mound. But how do you, before the game, remove a guy who's a healthy starter in Steven Matz to then go, well, that's because we need an opener / starter with Seth Lugo? It's like, you could literally just throw Matz.
That's also what I don't get about this Lugo move, is that given that he's been pitching every day and hasn't really been preparing as a starter, he's not going to pitch like 6-7 innings. So he's going to end up pitching and he already kind of pitched 5-out saves and 2 innings here and there. He's going to pitch 3 or 4 innings instead of 2. And we're overhauling everything. It just makes, if he was going to step up and pitch 8 innings, then it's fine. But he's not going to do that because that's not the way the game goes anymore. So we're just going to have an opener instead of a reliever. And guess what? We need fucking relievers just as much as we need starters. We need everything. We need everything on this team. So you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and both Peter and Paul suck.
And you're doing it in the middle of the season. They're not even saying they're going to try to stretch him out of this. Like, we're just going to just let him go and see what the fuck happens. It's half measures. It's the epitome of the Jeff Wilpon era is what's happening with Seth Lugo right now. And I'm the fucking face of the Seth Lugo fan club. But and then it's all the advanced numbers. I think it's the second and third time through the lineups he's not as efficient. It's there's no reason to do it now. Do it next season, if at all. It's so fucking crazy. And Steven fucking Matt, excuse me. He's Sven Matz. You are the bullpen. There would be if the Mets have officially signed a guy from Netherlands, and his name is Sven Matz. He's a lefty who just is a fucking long reliever, because that's what the guy's name would be, right? Sven Matz. Matz. It's like Mahtz. Sven Matz.
Over the A.
Yes. All right, so Sven Matz, I will refer to him as nothing but Sven Matz. When you're in the bullpen, you lose the name Steven. 100%.
What a fall from grace, man. I mean, just think back to Grandpa Matz, Grandpa Moeller, and how exciting he was. And when he was on, he was fucking on. I remember being like, yo, all these other guys are the real deal, but my guy's going to be Steven Matz. He's going to be the sleeper of his crew who can toss. Long Island kid. Somehow not a Jewish guy. Steven Matz from Long Island, not Jewish, is the upset of the century. But I remember being this dude, he's the one. From my guy, my J.D. Davison, boy, you are not my guy.
What did he had a bomb that first game?
Yeah,
was it a bomb
right.
too?
He hit a couple of runs.
He went 3 for 3. Yeah.
Oh God! And now it's he's a shit. I feel bad for him. You hear him talking, he's just he's hopeless. He's just I got no fucking answers. I don't know what to do.
Especially with spring training coming in with DeGrom going, this is the best I've ever seen him. Right. This is as good as I've seen him since the minors. And I'm like, yes, finally it's going to put it together. But he's got nothing but arm and back problems. So you're going to take a guy like that who can't even start, and you're going to try to make him throw regularly?
I mean, I think that's just a demotion all around, being you're in the bullpen if we even fucking throw you out there. But I mean, at this point, who do you throw out there?
He's on the same route as Harvey. That's what happened with Harvey, and then he was gone.
Yeah. I mean, Betances is not what we hoped. Diaz, he can go smoke and mirrors all he wants. We know the real deal there. Lugo out of the picture. I mean,
Slender Man, Skinny Familias, has not completely blown up in our face yet. That counts for something. He may like load the bases here and there and need someone to get him out, but he does not do fuck. He's still alive. Like we sent Drew Smith, who was like our best reliever at this point. Now that Lugo's gone, we're just sending him out.
Coming themselves over Drew Smith is also the epitome of the Jeff Wilpon era. Guys getting excited for Drew fucking Smith. Have some standards, Mets fans. Have some respect for yourselves.
Did you see the guy? I got it tweeted to me last night that Rafael Montero. I shout out our guy Matt Stars, but Rafael Montero is the closer for the Rangers right now. And before last night, he had 5 saves with a 0 ERA and a .2 WHIP. And then I tweeted out and go, "Oh fuck, like really?" And then he gave up a walk-off grand slam to fucking Manny Machado, and it was like the Mets stink got slapped right back on his face, and he fucking gives up a tater against the fucking Pods.
It's crazy to think that Hansel Robles is walking out to the Undertaker theme, striking motherfuckers out in LA. Up until last night, Montero was perfect, but you can take the man out of the Mets uniform. You can't take the Mets out of the man. Like, it's still lurking inside you like cancer. If you're on the Mets and then you get traded, you just go into remission. You haven't been cured. You're not healthy. It's still lurking, waiting to rear its ugly head.
I honestly want the entire American League West to have former Mets pitchers as closers. We could throw Justin Dunn in for the fucking Mariners. We'll have Montero. We'll have Robles. Just everyone has a fucking different X-Men, and they're all like the top 5 closers in baseball. And we're watching Edwin Diaz just fucking walk in game tying runs. It's unbelievable.
Now, speaking of Diaz, the last whatever week, Robinson Cano's been fucking awesome. I mean, I don't know if he's back on the sauce. I'll take this Robbie Cano. Like if I could get this version, I would have been okay with the trade. But I think as we also know that how long this will last, unless he's just back on the sauce, which I would do, by the way. Like,
yes.
Like his Hall of Fame chances are already fucked probably because of the steroids. So you might as well just keep doing them. Otherwise, you've got the numbers and the money. You might as well just like bounce back and give people one last ride.
You go like the Manny Ramirez route. Manny got caught every time, and then when he got caught the last time, he got fuck it, I retire. And then he went to Taiwan and just hit bombs there.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that's like, real baseball fans will know. You're not in the hall, but he was like a top 5 player for his like decade-long run. So whatever. I don't know. I don't give a shit.
All-time was he the all-time hits leader for the 2010s? Was that the stat that we saw the other day? All-time hit leader for the 2010s,
and like top 3 in home runs, top 5 in OPS, top 4 in RBI. It's like every major stat, he's right fucking there for his career. And
can we move him? Is there I'm trying to, like I said, I'm looking for a team.
Contract is so bad.
I know, but is there a way that a team just wants to win the Corona series and because remember, this is the craziest thing about the Cano trade is that before it became the Diaz trade, Cano was being linked to Jacoby Ellsbury's fucking corpse. Yeah. And that's what we thought and then we end up with him and we're trading away Kalenic and all that. That's kind of what drove me the most crazy about it. Is there any way we could take away like the Chris Paul contract where you get back another contract that isn't quite as bad, but I don't have to watch Robbie Cano on the DL, because I know he's going to get hurt. I know he's going to get hurt.
Who else is as stupid as us?
The Mariners!
I mean, that's the fucking problem. It's like, you guys want him back? The only assholes will do a trade like that except for us. It's so fucking unbelievably bad. But there's a couple bright spots. I would say there's 3 bright spots on the season. Number 1 is Michael Conforto. He's just the real fucking deal. Lock him up, give him a contract. We need to keep him. If he can work in a little bit more clutch gene like he did last night, amazing. Number 2, Dom Smith. He's just unbelievable. Just an unbelievable baseball player. Him and Clint Frazier are these 2 dudes who are just like, you're giving me my shot, and I am not going to fucking lose it this time. And number 3, all-world MVP, Luis Guillorme. He's the best player in baseball. Like, forget about Fernando Tatis Jr. Forget about Mike Trout. We got the big G and his dad his father has a Dave Portnoy-esque blood feud grudge with Mickey Callaway. I mean, every time he does anything good, he's tweeting about Mickey and how if you get put in the right position to succeed, you're good. But to me, those are the 3 bright spots that I can truly get excited for.
I don't know how we can do this. We're Barstool. We have a little bit more of a pocketbook. We can do it. I need Mr. Guillorme and Frank the Tank to do a Mickey Callaway hit video. Like, I don't know how, but can you imagine that? That would be something.
Dude, Frank went silent for a little while last night after we blew the lead, and I was like, welfare check.
One?
We need to do it. Yeah, the big one came. I was like, can we do like a 51-50 on Frank over there in Jersey right now? This is a problem. But Conforto, I mean, that would have been another round of consoles for a lot of people if we lost that game. Michael Conforto deserves a lot of credit for stepping up there with a fucking bomb, dead center, just crushed it. So, I mean, I don't know. The Yankees series, I think we're going to get our dicks kicked in. But, yeah, this series always is bizarre. It's usually 2 out of 3 one way or the other, and then the next series it goes 2 out of 3 the other direction. It usually ends up kind of being even, oddly enough. But, without – will Jake pitch?
We have to wait another – he's gonna pitch in the Bronx against Cole probably because they both pitched yesterday. Yeah, so that would be nice.
That would be cool. Although, as always with the Mets and Yankees, like the competitive fan in me would love to see DeGrom like outpitch Cole. But to me, the upside of that is not worth the downside of like, God forbid DeGrom has a bad start and Cole fucking tosses a gem. I mean, I'll blow my fucking head off. We can only talk so much shit because we're a bad team. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, we beat you that one time. It's like nobody fucking cares. But for them, who are going to go on to bigger and better things, if they also win this little battle of New York for the aces, it's like, ugh. But I don't know. They're banged up. They haven't been playing well. Aaron Boone still sucks. He's just as bad as Luis Rojas. So, I mean, anything can happen. It's baseball, Susan.
I'm looking at the schedule. I'm looking at the schedule here. We got Happ, Montgomery, and Tanaka, and then Happ, Montgomery, and I guess Tanaka again as of now in terms of the probables. I don't know how they could shift things around. They have an off day on Monday, so I don't know if that would change anything. And then they have an off day on Thursday as well. They have fucking 2 off days in a week in Corona land. What the fuck? That's some bullshit.
Yeah,
they're giving them 2 off days right before our series.
Fucking Manfred, I know what you're doing, you goddamn
snake motherfucker. Oh, when Cohen buys the team, he's just gonna buy off days for us. Just buy him. Just fucking put money in the pockets.
Let's get into it because since I've consuled, I have not been on the day-to-day, game-to-game Mets roller coaster. But right now, I'm on like the week-to-week Mets sale roller coaster, and I want off this goddamn ride. August 31st, and really, in reality, we're probably not gonna find out till like October 1st. You know what I mean? Like that's when the bids are in, but they're not gonna say anything for like a month. So we got a little while to go on this. I had total faith, then I lost faith, then I saw how many articles and like rumors were coming out from the A-Rod camp. So like when what was the one article that really had me shook?
This Monday, you were shook.
Hates Cohen and does not want him selling the team. And I started to worry that one, A-Rod would get high enough that he could just like pick the lesser bid, but only by like $100 million. 2, Jeff would like somehow stay on with the A-Rod group. A-Rod wants this so badly that he would be like, we'll let you do that 5-year thing. Just give it to us. Or 3, Steve Cohen would eventually just go, fuck you guys. We did this once and you fucked me. Now you're trying to get cute with it again. I'm just going to go back to being a billionaire. Fuck off. So I got real nervous.
You texted the chain and you're like, it's over. I'm out. And
I thought the dream was over. I did.
My heart sunk when I saw that text message because I thought you like heard something. You know, you have a source telling you, hey, Steve's out. You can't do that, man. You're right. This is too big.
That's on me. But then here's what I don't like. Everybody keeps saying this is not Jeff Wilpon's decision. This is a Fred Wilpon and a Saul Katz decision. Well, to that I say, fucking why? Because where the fuck has Saul Katz been? Like, I'm sick of Saul. Like, we used to always think of Saul Katz as an ally. Fuck you, dude. You haven't done anything. We know that you hate Jeff Wilpon and the way this team is run just as much as we do, and you don't say a goddamn word. So all of a sudden, after the Mets have turned over the reins to Jeff for the last, fucking decade, he's calling all the shots. Now we're supposed to think that he has no say in, like, the final the end game here. I just don't necessarily believe that. I hope it's true because it does sound like Fred and Saul are just like, fuck it, we want as much money as we can. But I just don't get like, well, then step up and say, no, we don't care that Jeff doesn't like Steve. We do. We want money. Like, I don't get why that's not happening. But then the roller coaster goes back up when I see that A-Rod has appealed to Al Sharpton, that people in the A-Rod group have said if Cohen wants it, it's his. Another source in the A-Rod group said, like, I can't even believe we have enough money in the first place. So the leaks started to scare me. Then the leaks started to give me more confidence. But in the meantime, I figured, forget all the nonsense. Let's just cut right to the bullshit and have a direct line to Steve Cohen. So I wrote him a letter. I asked people that I know who are in the know and in the loop and have connections, can you get this in front of Steve Cohen for me? Do you know someone that, you know, if they email Steve Cohen directly, you know, steve.cohen@sackcapital.com, you know, I just made that up. I don't know those emails. Can you get it to his inbox where he might be like, oh, there's my buddy Clem. Let me read this. I'm not asking for any response. I mean, that would be nice. But I just wanted to get to him and have his eyeballs on it. And so I have hope that maybe this did, in fact, happen. But I poured my heart out to Steve Cohen. Take it away.
So you want me to do the dramatic reading of the letter here?
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, if anyone wants to get this printed out. What?
You want a little dramatic reading music?
Yeah, let's get a little dramatic reading.
Let me pull something up on YouTube for you.
And I'm going to post I'll post it on the Twitter so everyone can read along.
And yeah, if anyone wants to print this out, I don't know. I feel like Steve's a guy who likes to feel the paper and the ink on it under his fingernails, you know, when he's reading stuff. Print it out, hand deliver the blog to him, barstoolsports.com. It is titled An Open Letter to Stephen A. Cohen.
I just YouTubed dramatic reading music. 3 down, it says 1 hour of dark piano for dark thoughts. Should I play that one or should we look for some more hopeful music?
We're going to save that one for after Steve gets the team and we've,
Okay.
came ourselves 3 different times and we just go and wallow into our own filth.
Let's see how this one sounds. Okay, go ahead.
Dear Mr. Cohen, I hope this letter finds you well. I assume it will because according to my latest Google search, you're worth almost $14 billion. I trust that a man of your means and success has almost everything he has ever wanted. And yet, it appears there's at least one thing you still yearn for, something that lights your fire. As an art connoisseur, I'm sure you can understand how satisfying it is to acquire that one work of art that completes your collection, which is why I am begging, literally begging you to make sure you win this bid. I write this to you as a 35-year-old Mets fan. I'm a member of what I like to call the worst generation, either too young or not alive at all for the Mets' most recent world title. We've spent the last 3+ decades wallowing in misery and at best mediocrity. And even our bright spot moments, 1999, 2000, 2006, and 2015, are marred with heartbreak and embarrassment. See, ball for Kenny Rogers. Steamrolled in the Subway Series. Beltran looking, leading the World Series for 89% of the games and inexplicably losing in 5 games. Insanity. I'm writing this on behalf of all the lifelong fans who are truly questioning whether we can do this anymore. I'm a father of 2 writing this on behalf of all the other parents arriving at the depressing conclusion that it would be irresponsible to raise our children to root for the Mets franchise if it's going to continue to be run the way it is. I'm writing this as a guy from the Bronx on behalf of all the second-rate citizens of New York City who have effectively lived behind enemy lines our entire lives. With newspaper headlines we've seen reading, LOL Mets, or showing us Derek Jeter lifting yet another trophy. I write this on behalf of all Mets fans bullied in high school like a foreigner in his own country. I like that line. That was a good line. On behalf of those mocked as an adult for being a grown-ass, rational person, still pouring my heart and soul into a franchise who quite literally does not give a fuck about how I feel. I write this on behalf of guys who took their balls and their bank accounts in their hands and risked their entire family's well-being to create a legion of superfans who are somehow loud and proud despite the constantly tides of embarrassment.
Shout out to Darren in the 7 line.
Yes. I write this on behalf of everyone who's lived through. All right, get the tissues out. This is going to get rough here. 2007 collapse. The 2008 collapse. Spinal stenosis. Throwing firecrackers at little girls. Shooting reporters in the face with bleach. Watching our generational players fall victim to drugs, only win titles with the Yankees. Juaner Sanchez's cab ride. Generation K flopping. The 5 Aces flopping. Lastings millage. Fernando Martinez. Alex Ochoa / Escobar. Both fucking the same first name. Kevin McReynolds, et cetera, flopping. Bobby Bonilla Day every July 1st. And most importantly, the Bernie Madoff scandal. The list goes on, and that's not including any heartbreak pre-1986. And I know you're a Mets minority owner, and you know all these moments and have seen all this heartbreak, but let's call a spade a spade. The Mets lose, and you're probably annoyed for a few minutes and then go back to your awesome fucking life or an important business deal or a ritzy art auction or any of the dope shit that NYC billionaires have the power to do. As common assholes who have nothing to live for other than this godforsaken team, our weeks are ruined by bullpen meltdowns. Our years are ruined from September collapses. Our lives are ruined by incompetent asshole owners and their clueless, petulant children. Our hope ruined by the dumb dickheads who got duped by the world's biggest Ponzi scheme. And so there's one more thing you can do if you make this purchase. The one thing you can add to the list of accomplishments as one of the most successful people to ever, one last thing that very few people have done. Prop up millions of desperate people in a city currently decimated by actual struggles that make the Mets follies look like a walk in the park. The stars have aligned for you to leave your mark on baseball history, New York City history, and American history. A city loaded with legion of redheaded stepchildren who have patiently, idiotically, for a couple of broke fucking assholes to deliver one of the hardest things in all of sports, a World Series championship. A population of people who now have real health problems and financial woes, who are desperate for some beacon of hope, some sort of release or escape where they, the perennial lifelong losers, can finally feel like a winner. At the risk of sounding over dramatic, you have the ability to become an immortal icon in the city, to forever change the social dynamics within this city, to give millions of metaphorically starving people the nourishment they crave, to give a city of rebels the ammunition they have so desperately lacked. The greatest underdog, rags to riches, American dream come true. Not since the pesky American colonies turned into a global superpower will there be a better story of the ragtag team rising to prominence. Give us this chance to feel alive. Give us this chance. Give us the chance to thrive. Give us the chance to turn the tables. Give the worst generation a chance to live the back nine of their lives with happiness. Give the next generation the chance to proudly wear orange and blue and not be embarrassed to do so. Do you know what happened when I was in high school after the Subway Series? This is Kevin Clancy writing. After the 5th and final game, I decided to go down with the ship, and I wore my Jay Payton jersey to school with a Mets fitted cap. Do you know what happened to me, Steve? This kid named Gary Baccaliari?
Yeah, Gary Bacciolari.
Gary Baccaliari, which is even funnier, told me he was going to fuck my girlfriend in the ass.
True story.
True story, Steve.
It was a tough one.
He said, tell her I said hi, and I'm going to put it in her butt. Let the kids grow up without worrying about their girlfriends being sodomized simply for being a Mets fan loser. Have you ever seen Gladiator, Mr. Cohen? When Proximo tells Maximus, win the crowd, win your freedom. Well, win the crowd and win your immortality. Turn New York City on its head. Satiate the world's most starving fan base. Give the city of New York the comeback story it desperately needs right now. And you become an immortal. Plenty of men are rich. Not many use that money to turn themselves into a sports legend. This is your destiny. This is our destiny. You are our salvation. We will follow you to the ends of the goddamn earth with undying loyalty. And the best part, All you have to do is spend that money. And in case you haven't counted in a little while, just reminding you that you have a fuck ton of it. All you have to do is pay a little premium to make sure you overcome the sheer incompetence of the Wilpons. Trick a little bit more money to make that annoying little Nat Jeff Wilpon disappear, to make sure that clown show J-Rod group doesn't sneak their way in the back door and be another cash-strapped ownership group who blow their load acquiring this team. I admit it's easy to spend another man's money. It's simple for me to tell you just to sweeten the pot by a few extra $100 million. I'm sure you didn't amass $14 billion by being reckless with your money. But Mr. Cohen, this is why you busted your ass for the last 64 years. What's the point of making that money if not to spend it on the opportunity to etch your name in NYC Stone, New York City Stone? What's the point of making richest man in baseball money if you're not going to end up the richest man in baseball? I like that line too.
Mm-hmm.
Is it absolutely infuriating you had a deal in place and that fucking skunk-ass loser Jeff Wilpon changed the terms like the Weasley is? Yes. Yes, it is. Is it even more infuriating that you seemingly need to sweeten the pot well beyond your already incredibly generous offer to buy a bag of shit product? I would imagine it would drive a lesser man in. I would imagine it would drive lesser men insane, fucking insane. Excuse me, but I promise you this, Mr. Cohen. Whatever pride you need to swallow to drop some extra cash come August 31st, you will receive back 10,000-fold from Mets fans.
Mm-hmm.
The day the news breaks, you offered $5 billion for the Mets and SNY. Mets fans
I just tried to encourage him there. I was like, maybe he'll do that.
a little push, a little nudge. Mets fans will already celebrate the way in which you threw your dick on the table and blew everyone out of the water. The day that we learned this was never in doubt, you'll already be canonized in these 5 boroughs. When we learned that Jeff Wilpon is such a pissant, such a nobody, that you were able to break off a few extra crumbs from your fortune to make him go away, the way you'd scrape a piece of gum off the bottom of your $3,000 Ferragamos, Mets fans will declare you a god right there on the spot. And the reaction when you bring a World Series to the New York City that's not ruined by pinstripes, I honestly can't even tell you what that reaction will be. But I know it will be worth every penny you had to pay to get the Wilpons out of your life and ours. Don't let your business legacy and your baseball potential be ruined by the worst ownership group in baseball and the most clueless businessmen in New York. The thought that the real-life Bobby Axelrod would ever be stopped from achieving something because of Jeff and Fred Wilpon is simply not an option. Deliver us from evil. Win the bid. Win your immortality. Signed, Kevin Francis.
I mean, I'm serious though. Like, if you are Steve Cohen, you want to look back and hear people say that like the Wilpons stopped you. I would not let that happen. Even if let's say he's soured on the whole idea, I was like, I don't even want this anymore. I would buy it. I would turn around and sell it to A-Rod at a loss and just be like, just to say that the Wilpons couldn't stop me, because I would not be able to rest my head at night if I was a $14 billion baller and Jeff Wilpon somehow fucked me over. I would pay billions or I would murder him, one or the other.
Steve Cohen can't go from the rich guy that like was the black edge, all that kind of stuff, and like made his, fucking found a way and was Bobby Axelrod, to then the guy that lost his team to Alex fucking Rodriguez because Jeff Wilpon. You can't take 2 L's from those guys.
I mean, it's just not an option.
It would be like Mo Rivera.
Goliath, but everyone's like, fuck Goliath, fuck David.
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm not rooting for the underdog.
Nobody's rooting for the underdog. I mean, I'm now back in.
You're back in. Okay,
I'm back to where I was like, this is really not even in doubt. It's just a waiting game. These other groups are fucking throwing pebbles at the throne. And when
did you hear about Harrison Blitzer?
I think both of them are nobodies. I think they're trash.
Did you hear what he said though? They're purposely like throwing the bid. It said in the reports. It says they're so cooked that they purposely came in with a lower bid, so they're just out of it. I think between the financials and just knowing they're basically fucked, it's a wrap for them.
Good. So one down, one to go, and I think that Steve Cohen has already has plans to put in the biggest offer, and then the morning of August 31st is going to come, and he's going to go throw another 200 in there. You know, like he's just going to look at his fucking banking, pop open, you know, his fucking online banking and be like, yeah, I can afford another couple $100 million. Just let's sweeten the pot, make sure we get it done. It's got to be infuriating, though, to know that, like, to have to pay more to Jeff Wilpon, to turn Jeff Wilpon back into a billionaire after they blew their own billion, it has got to just eat at your soul. But you have to think of it more as like, here's $5, go buy some ice cream. Go away. You know, get away from me, kids. It's not that you're giving in. It's just like, I don't want to go away. That's the point of having money. Fuck you, money. The whole point is that you get to say fuck you to people. So I hope he views it that way, because part of me would have a hard time swallowing that.
I feel like the only thing that's going to keep him like sane is like, he's just like, this family will blow this money. This money will go back into the earth and be circulated around the American economy. Yeah, that's actually a good point. He's going to figure out what they invest in. He's going to short it and get all their money.
All you got to do is start a stupid investment that's paying wildly unrealistic returns, and they'll just give you their money back.
It's like trading places when the rich people just like sink Dan Aykroyd, make him into a homeless person just to see if they can. Like that's what I want Stevie to do to them, especially with like commercial real estate. I'm like, commercial real estate's down. That's their business. I just want Bobby Axelrod to turn around and go, yeah, you know what? I don't really think that this is a sound investment anymore, to all of his friends.
That would be unbelievable if he had something up his sleeve that was like, I did win the bid. You think you've got all my money, but you don't realize that I just moved the market in such a way that like you'll never be able to invest that money. And you know what I mean? Like your business is fucking done because I said so. So fuck off, Jeff.
I don't know if you can mark $2 billion, especially when you're paying it probably just by clicking a fucking computer button. But I feel like he wants all those dollars marked, and then he wants to see them back in his bank account at some point. Remember, it's like where's George? You guys are
like his art collection, you know?
Yeah, like his art collection. Exactly.
Yeah. like one day he's got like a wallpaper of money. And there's like one spot left for $100 bill, and it's like, this is my last one from the Wilpons. I got it back, put it on the wall.
Well, you think like Dave has the champagne bottles with the name for that's $100 million.
Right?
Dude's got 14
billionaire
shit going on behind the scenes.
I mean, if I was Jeff Wilpon, I'd be worried that he's gonna like scalp me, like kill me, and take my head and put it on a spike.
Stick him in the tank with the shark.
With the shark, yeah, yeah. Because honestly, like. Nobody talks about, you know, Jeff Wilpon just willy-nilly walks around being like, fuck Steve Cohen. No, sir. You don't talk shit. That guy, Steve Cohen is like one half step away from being like a mob boss. You don't talk about him. Yeah.
If you say Steve Cohen's name 3 times in the mirror, he pops out and fucking cuts you right on the spot. He's the fucking boogeyman. He's fucking Candyman.
You know what it is? It's like Slender Man. The skinny man art fucking display comes to life and fucking kills you. Steve sends that guy after you.
Steve might have like actual like his enemies in formaldehyde with the shark. Like he might actually just fucking throw that.
There's no doubt. If you don't think that Steve Cohen has a dungeon up there in Connecticut with bodies and rotting fucking prisoners and shit, like a catacomb down there, no doubt.
George R. Martin used him as like his basis for Cersei. Like he's just like sipping wine as he watches shit burn.
I mean, he is the Night King. He really is the Night King. The Night King can get his ass kicked in one fucking day. The Night King just like amassing that army over the years. That's Steve Cohen going from $1 billion to $14 billion and finally getting like why were the White Walkers marching south for the Mets? Like he wanted to buy a fucking team. That's why.
Do you guys want to hear? You guys want to hear some of the quotes from yesterday? Just for anyone who hasn't heard them. All right. So one of them says, "This is from The Athletic. It's a total circus, and I've been assuming that it's Cohen's to lose. I wouldn't pay more than $1.4 billion. The key is $70 to $100 million in capital calls that require annually for at least the next 2 years." The other quote was, "This is from a source close to A-Rod's group. If Cohen wants it, this is his." Baseball's, and then another source said baseball's in a position where the number 2 team in the largest market is going to get sold. It's losing, depending on who you talk to, $30 to $50 million a year. It doesn't include its broadcaster, interest in its broadcaster for at least another 8 to 10 years. And you're in a post-COVID world, tremendous financial uncertainty. These are the kind of situations where you go with the guy with the biggest checkbook. And then the third quote was from Disha Thosar. This is, I think, the Daily News. A source familiar with the Mets said, "How the A-Rod group is in the lead is beyond my comprehension.
But
Also
they're
added
not.
that Steve Cohen
But that's
won't
not
be
real.
outbid.
It's all the only reason that is because Jeff said I would prefer to sell it to A-Rod. That doesn't mean a fucking thing. They're not in the lead. Steve Cohen is sitting back laughing, thinking about people saying he's not in the lead. He's always in the lead. In anything he does, he's in the lead at all times. So it's got to also suck to hear people be like, that's not worth more than 1.4. And it sounds like you're going to have to do like at least 2. But when you were willing to go 2.6 6 months ago, 9 months ago, who cares?
He's coming out ahead. Yeah, he's still going to come out ahead long time.
He's like, I'm making a profit here.
The Blitzer thing that you brought up, Clem, they said that the financials were quote unquote gory to the point where they were like, we don't even like baseball. We just wanted a good investment.
Oh,
They're going to lose money by spending money.
Anybody who's buying the Mets for a good investment, you are not a good businessman. Steve Cohen is buying this because he wants it. It's a thing, a toy that he wants. It's not buying it because it's a sound investment. It's the polar opposite of a sound investment. It loses $50 million per year.
Steve Cohen this is just another piece of art for him. He's gonna have the slender, the pointer. He's gonna have some fucking Da Vinci painting, and he's gonna have Citi Field being held up by 100 fucking helicopters. He's gonna be like, and this is Citi Field. I own that fucking team right now. They're in the offseason. I'll put it back in Flushing when I'm done with it. But you guys want to take a gander, take a look around? We got some hot dogs in there for you. That's the kind of shit we're doing.
If you had to fly to get into Citi Field, like you show up there and you get on like a little fucking like escalator that takes you up, and it's just suspended by hot air balloons at all times, and you just play in the cloud. Because why the fuck not? Why the fuck not?
Harrison Blitzer, this is what I compared it to. They saw the Mets. They're like, big market team for sale. These things don't go for sale. Major League Baseball. It's the fucking empty subway car, and they go, yes. I can sit wherever I want.
Yeah,
and they walked in, and it's empty. And it smelled like a fucking homeless guy died in there because he probably fucking died in there.
100%. You gotta be a fucking moron to not understand what you're getting into with the goddamn Mets. And that's why Steve Cohen is a true savior. Because it's like you're buying something that's terrible for us. Like that one quote that said Steve Cohen is still committed to the Mets despite Jeff Wilpon saying he doesn't like him, for the good of Mets fans and for the good of baseball. Now that's dramatic. He's just like, I want this thing. Fuck you. I'm buying it. But him pushing that button, playing that card of like, I'm doing this for the people. I mean, he is the Messiah. He is our salvation.
That line, I'm not gonna even lie. I got a little bit of blood down low when I saw that line. Like, he's doing it for the Mets fans and for baseball. He's trying to save the goddamn sport from itself, basically, at this point.
And I'm going to say this. When Steve Cohen buys the Mets, he's a notorious recluse. He doesn't ever talk or do anything. I think down the road, we're going to peck away at it. We will one day talk to Steve Cohen.
That's basically
I don't know if he'll be on the podcast. I don't know if he'll do like a Barstool podcast, but we'll get in a room with him. There will be a moment where I will come face to face with Steve Cohen, and I'll be honest, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know I can't be held responsible. I'll hug him. I'll touch him. I'll get beat up by his bodyguards. They'll be like, what are you doing? I'll get tased. I might get shot. Because if you put me in front of that man, if he gets me the Wilpons out of my life, I'll do anything for him.
I'll suck his dick. I'm just going to say, we're not going to dance around this. I'm going to suck his dick if I see it.
You know what? The boss, he's like, I don't want you to suck my dick. I have something else for you. I'll end up being like an assassin for Steve Cohen. Like if he tells me like I got a couple loose ends in like Secaucus, New Jersey, I'd be like, okay, I'm your guy. Yep. You did it for me, I'll do it for you. Let's go. So
he's hiring millions of assassins at this point because people will do anything for him. The minute he fucking buys him.
In that letter, like, I know you're probably pissed that they reneged on your last deal. I know you're pissed you got to pay a premium to get over the Jeff Wilpon hurdle. But whatever pride, ego shot you take from that, we will instantly give it back to you by showering you with love and attention. Just
not to mention, everyone's going to buy tickets to the games.
Without winning a single game, I will be like, you are the greatest.
You throw an extra $200 million, and every fan will buy like a 20-game package.
It's like make the playoffs and make it back in a fucking heartbeat, dude. That's why I
crowdsource that whole thing.
Worry about a couple hundred here and there because it's like play 2 or 3 playoff games and you get it back. It's nuts.
It's like when the Knicks were rumored to get LeBron and everyone bought season tickets. It's the same thing. It's actually even better because it's like we can get like 5 LeBrons on the fucking Mets when we have an actual owner who knows what the fuck he's doing. Things are going to just instantly get better. It's just going to instantly get better. The only thing I don't understand about this, which I guess this is like whatever 2021, we don't know what the fuck it's going to look like, but I feel like it just sucks because like October, if he says he gets the team October 1st, right? And you have to go through all like the business shit. Like, when can he start putting people in power? And when can you start, like then you have to get I imagine he's probably getting strategies in place right now. He's probably like, listen, you're going to be my, like, director. Like, let's start looking at, like, free agents because at some point we have to start, like, strategizing for 2021, right? Because
yeah, I mean, listen, to be totally fair, like, you got to give him, like, a couple years to, like, get things going. Anybody who thinks it's, like, he comes and they win in 21 is crazy. I'm hoping – like, I keep thinking, like, who is the next, like, wonderkind in baseball that we can put in place? I'm hoping he just takes someone off his hedge fund. He's like, you're no longer a stock trader. You're a baseball GM, and just apply the same, like, mindset. Because it's like everybody knew Chaim Bloom, and somehow we picked Brody over him. And there's, there are the names that come up. We're like, this is the young, bright spot. Put him in place. And I want Steve Cohen to be like, nah, I got my secret weapon over here. I got this guy who's made me billions, and just look at it like a business. Although what is funny, I am hearing that baseball, they're not going to put like a salary cap in place, but I'm hearing like at the end of 21, like the luxury tax situation is going to be even worse, and it will like effectively kind of put a cap on you, which is like, of course, like the fucking day you get the richest owner in baseball, they'll put restrictions on money. But the way you end up like the Dodgers or the Yankees and just like stay good forever, like maybe the salary on your major league teams is capped, but the money you put into development and overseas scouting and minor league ball and all that shit, that's where it just becomes an endless like machine. And whatever, we'll deal with the quote unquote cap or whatever the restrictions are on the major league level. But you invest in the infrastructure from the ground up with all that extra Cohen money, and you're always good.
Well, it's like they interviewed Starting Nine interviewed Yelich. I think it was last season or this past off season, and they were talking about like, where's your favorite places to play? And every player they were interviewing was like, oh, the Yankees. And they're like, don't tell me that. And they're like, oh, you go in there, it's like fully professional. They've got like the full spread of food. Like, it's not so much the money you're paying them. You're giving them these guys an experience to come here versus now where it's like, you want to come into a dumpster fire or you want to go to the Ritz across the street?
I don't know if this was public or not, but fuck it, I don't care anymore because I don't really like them. Syndergaard was telling me like they feed them like chicken fingers and fries. Like he was saying one of the times he was hurt, he was like rehabbing, and they were like, "Here's your buffet" or whatever, and it was literally chicken fingers, and he was like, I'm like a finely tuned professional athlete. Like, can I get some grilled chicken? Can I get like some greens? Can we get like a chef in here? Stuff like that. That goes a long way because that's that's their day-to-day life. It's like, and when you're a millionaire and you're yours to a certain level and all of a sudden you get dog shit, like, fuck it, I'm getting out of here.
I'm like the raccoons in the gym. Oh, they had the raccoons in the gym.
Oh, yeah, right.
Like shit like that. Like that doesn't happen at Yankee Stadium. And they got rats the size of dogs in fucking the Bronx. But they keep those out of the stadium. It's like, you gotta be kidding me.
Spend the money, win the bid, win your immortality.
Jeff Wilpon treats his fucking $1 million players like I treat my kids when I'm going out. Like I just order off the kids menu.
That's literally the only thing I feed my children every fucking night.
And it's terrible for him, but it shuts them the fuck up. Meanwhile, these guys are trying to fucking go out and become athletic specimens, and they can't even fucking do that. Unbelievable.
So August 31st is the deadline. We're gonna have to like find. You know what I asked? It's impossible, but because we don't know when it's gonna happen. If we could do a Mets electric chair for the news about who won the bid,
yes.
It would be the most watched thing in Mets history. There's just no way to tell. I don't think we'll find out till like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like November 1st, which sucks. But, these things, it's just like 6 to 8 weeks is like no big deal. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, we'll do it in like next month, whatever. Or like, we got to look over some things first before we announce it or whatever it is, So August 31st, they know. I don't think we know. So we're going to have to like,
I need the figures to leak.
Laura Goldman or someone like we gotta find out because I can't wait.
Well, if I'm Cohen, I'm leaking my bid to try to like force them to be like, oh my God, he put in 600 million more
Right.
than the next
You're gonna turn
closest
that
guy,
down?
you're not picking him? Yeah.
And you know what? Cohen has been so quiet because that's how he rolls. But like, I think he's waiting for his time to play dirty, and he's gonna do something like that. It's like you're fucked now. Either you look like petty assholes, or you got to own up to it. So
The thing I'm not looking forward to is I just feel like A-Rod's going to pull some more shady shit. I feel like he's already had enough shady shit going on, and I feel like it's only going to get worse.
I know he's a coworker, but also like A-Rod's not like some evil genius. There's a long time where he couldn't get out of his own way. He doesn't like scare me as that. Now, like Vinny Viola and Mike Rapoli, maybe they're doing some shit. Got a couple fucking rich guineas. They'll make some shit happen. So I don't know. We got a Italian versus Jewish war here. There's a lot more on the line than the fucking Mets. Let me tell you what.
It's Godfather 2 right now playing out right in front of our faces. I fucking love it.
Until then, like as far as the games go, yes, I want them to beat the Yankees. Sure, if they can catch the Braves, you want to sneak in and win the Corona Cup. Let's go. But we're in the end game now, fellas, and there's only one thing to worry about, and it determines the rest of our lives. So I will be waiting for that news with bated breath, and I know that my Savior – I mean, I really feel like it's a religion where – like religious people are like, I just believe that, like, my Lord and Savior Jesus will save me. Like, I'm just not afraid of coronavirus or cancer because, like, I know I'm in good standing with the big man and, like, I'll go to heaven. I'm just like, I just believe it's going to happen. I just believe. This is where I believe. This is where, for me, with Steve Cohen, you got to believe.
Gotta believe. Gotta believe. It's the strongest I've said that in months.